Look, shawty, it's a
Yeah.
look, shawty, it's a bomb in the building. When I link with you, nothing else matters. What you trying to do? I got me some time set aside for you. Spend a little more if the vibe is cool. Come and vibe we do.
No, listen, I'm past the Gunna thing. You know what I mean? Listen, I said what I needed to say. Like I said, I did what I did. I did what I was supposed to do. Listen, I still feel strongly about that. Listen, I'm not with the snitching thing. You know, a lot of us have had to do things, you know, in our lives to where we need people that we can trust, people that are solid, people that can stand on some set of morals and principles. And like I said, I'm not here caping for street shit, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But if you're willing to do that, well, then how can I trust you in any other facet in life? You know what I mean? And listen, I get it. Hip hop has completely accepted this whole snitching thing. Like, snitching is 100% cool within hip hop, which to me is absolutely nuts. I mean, like I said, Atlanta's in shambles right now just because, dude, the whole thing is full of them. You know what I mean? And they can't just blow the whole thing up. Listen, call the bomber. I'll blow the whole bitch up. But, like, they can't do that because then what's left? You know what I mean? The stars that are there now are the stars. You know what I mean? And the one thing I would say is that if you do find a star, I'd keep them away from anybody with those issues or allegations unless you want to put them in a position to where they could possibly be asked about that in the future. And like I said, don't focus on this as a street or a snitch thing. It's a, can you be trusted with sensitive information in the worst of circumstances? You know what I mean? Either you got that backbone or you don't. But yeah, man, I'm past it. Like I said, you know, it's crazy to say, but it was a moment, you know. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, man, the creative juices get flowing when competition comes up, and that was something that it wasn't. I didn't go into the studio trying to make Turn Red. You know what I mean? Shout out to M.R. I think that's his name. The original song is titled Turn Red. You know what I mean? I do that with the Operation series. You know what I mean? I'll take a song, and I used to try to name the song the name of the artist, but then the DSPs like started shooting shit down. Like, nah, you can't do that. So now I'm just naming them whatever the original song is called. But you know, I went in there trying to make a dope record. You know what I mean? And like in the process of making the dope record, things got said. You know what I mean? And then what happened was y'all put two and two together. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, it worked. You know, I was cool with it. You know what I mean? We the Joe Budden thing happened. Like, it's cool. It's cool. I'm totally okay with it. You know, like I said, I'm not fucking backing down from nothing. Like, if I say it, I'm gonna stand on it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was a moment, and like I said, it was a big part of you know, Operation 2. You know what I mean? I had so much fun doing that, and I always do. You know what I mean? You know, we are in the process of working on Operation Free. You won't get it this year. Like, Operation 3 will. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, it is something that is going to happen. There will be another operation. There will probably be more and more operations. Like, that's just something I enjoy doing when it comes to creating music. But right now we're focused on the album, man. Like I said, everybody that I've talked to outside of Arizona, like people that know music, that know the industry, that want to, you know, potentially do something, and they want me to produce a not a thematic album, but just put together a body of work with all original songs, so that they can, I don't know, judge it or whatever. And like I said, I don't make shit for other people to judge, and it's always been something on my to-do list to, like, all right, Adam, like, you've totally killed the mixtape thing, because, you know, some people will call the Operations albums, some people will call the Operations mixtapes, which, I mean, I don't care. In my book, you know, they're all albums. You know what I mean? That's one of the things where, you know, people ask all the time, yo, Adam, why aren't you signed? Well, because, you know, I do a lot of revising of these contracts and I put a ton of time in revising these contracts that I've been given and send them back knowing that they're not going to be signed, because I automatically write out not all of the shit, but a lot of the stuff that is just pure, you know what I mean, label fuckery. They're just trying to fuck you. And one of those things is, any body of music is an album. There's no such thing as a mixtape. None of that. You know what I mean? If I'm signing on for 3 projects, you're getting 3 projects. That's it. You know what I mean? None of this, back alley shit, fine print. No. I give everybody, you got to give me at least a 30-day window. You give me paperwork. Okay, I need 30 days. I'm going over it. The lawyer's going over it. I'm going to try and write some shit. He's going to try and write some shit. We're going to both go over it again, and then we'll present it to you. And like I said, they say no just because. I don't want to say it's a Ponzi scheme because, like I said, I don't have the ill will to record labels that most folks do. I just don't. Like they're there for a reason, and it's cool to work with people that can be the bank. You know what I mean? And like I said, even in a lot of scenarios, I particularly don't mind a label taking a majority of the income, just as long as there is constantly income coming in for me and my team. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not this thing where I'm going to give you a loan and then, you're going to sit, wait, and hope that I give you another loan. No, none of that. Like, this, and I always thought that shit was stupid. Like, I mean, I never understood why people would do that. And I would ask people all the time, like, hey, why do people sign some of these deals? And one, they want to be famous. They want to get in the door. They say that, I'm going to roll the dice. I got to get in there first. But it's like, bro, if you sign that initial one, a lot of the times you never get out of that initial cage. You're walking into the door, into a cage, and it's like you might not get out of that cage based on what you signed. The verbiage in those contracts are meant to keep you in the cage. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's and like I said, I just am big on getting it right the first time, and so that's why I've heard just no after no after no, just because, like I said, I'm not with the bullshit. You're not gonna hand me some garbage that keeps me trapped and keeps me working for free, basically. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you want to turn an artist into an employee necessarily, but there's ways and kind of legal mumbo jumbo to make sure that, hey, every time a dollar comes in, something is going into every spot that it needs to go to. It gets, like I said, it gets really technical. Like I said, I don't know everything. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I just know the basics. I know what a good deal is. I know what a bad deal is. You know what I mean? One of the things that my pops, who was, he was in the music industry, a band called Jade, he got to play with the old Jays and Marvin Gaye, just a lot of, just legends. And one of the things that he said was, hey, don't worry about technically learning music business at first. Learn business, okay? Like, think of every contract just as a business contract. How is money made and where does the money go? You understand what I'm saying? And I think once you get that concept down, you start looking at just some of the way that this stuff is written, and you just make sure that you get something consistently. You know what I mean? Like I said, and it's a lot easier said than done. Like I said, nobody has said yes yet. But like I said, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like I make plenty of money. We're doing well. We can always do better. But like I said, I'm not rushing to sign some bogus contract just because I want to be in the in crowd or I need validation from someone like that. That just isn't a thing. Yeah, I think I got off track. I totally went someplace else. That wasn't the initial topic, but it kind of is what it is, and it's good for me to kind of get that out so that they can hear that. Anyway, Cornelius, pull up the next one.
Right away, sir. What is one issue that Arizona hip-hop should correct as soon as possible?
What is one issue that I think Arizona should fix immediately? Ooh, that's a good question. All right, well, here's one. Listen, I have a serious concern that Arizona doesn't listen to Arizona music. That's kind of been, grinding my gears for a little bit. Like, that thought has been kind of sticking in my craw, and I want to know if that is true, because, like I said, if you comb the internet, you will find some amazing shit in Arizona. But like, then you go to the places that are supposed to be in charge of like covering and like speaking on this type shit, and you don't hear nothing about it. And so I'm like, wait a minute, it ain't like this shit is hiding. You know, the good artists, the good songs, they not impossible to find. I don't even think they're very difficult to find. But I'm trying to figure out, why is it that this shit isn't being located and kind of being highlighted more? Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like how they say with like the internet and like, you know, TikTok and virality, is that, yo, you want to take as many stabs as you can. You know, you want to get as many bites as the apple, trying to get something that hits. And I don't think Arizona shoots as many shots as they should. You know what I mean? Like, and then the shots that they do shoot, it's like, bro, like that's a bad shot. If I'm using NBA analogies, but it's like, yo, give me the best I can find and let's shoot that shot, because that's the best shot possible. You know what I mean? Yo, it's not a good idea to take a subpar record and then try to fucking just beat it into the head of people. You know what I mean? You're trying to put, you know what I mean, a fucking, you know, a round peg in a square hole. Like, it's not gonna fucking work. You know what I mean? But that's always concerned me. It's like, yo, does Arizona listen to Arizona shit? You know what I mean? And like I said, those that do, stand up. You know what I mean? Raise your hand. Who's doing that? Because you know, obviously the Coliseum, you know, in past years have constantly tried to put out the New Music Monday with, you know, everything they could find, which was, I think, was a big help. You know what I mean? That it's definitely something that I looked into, and you know, and I would get tons of songs. What's one of the guys? Pete Ivy. Yo, that dude's nice, you know what I mean? And that's somebody that I found through the Coliseum. So it's like, and he's got a ton of good records, you know what I mean? Like slamming shit. So, you know, I always wonder on whether, you know, Arizona listens to Arizona music, because, you know, all the evidence to the contrary. But anyway, yeah, you know what I mean? Gravy train keeps moving. What's up?
Who is one artist you believe deserves more recognition inside Arizona?
If I had to pick an artist that would get more love, yo, Big Packy, straight up. Yo, like I said, a lot of people don't know about Big Packy, yo, but yo, Pac he's one of them ones, yo. Like I said, he's got 2 albums out that I know. And one of them's Revenge of the Sad, and I can't remember what the other one's called. But yo, both of them, classics, right off the bat. Listen, I will put those 2 albums up against just about anything you can find in Arizona. That's a fact, you know what I mean? And the fact that people haven't taken advantage of that, like, listen, I know that he's doing, he ain't letting nobody stop him. He's out, you know, streaming with the games and fucking doing it big. Like, super stoked. I got to work with him. Like, me and him did a song, Colossal. Right now, we're using it to promote the Absolute Batman merch that I got at bombapparel.com. But yo, he's another one that, yo, having him in the studio was fucking amazing. You know what I mean? He like I said, another one came in, we chopped it up. He went in the booth, quick, fast, and in a hurry. The record was done. The funny part is that afterwards, so when I work in the studio, like the second that I'm done with a song, like, yo, Tom's got it down packed to where he's fucking mixing and rolling in like fucking 45 minutes so that we can move on to the next song. Like, we're not sitting and fucking hanging with something. When it's done, it's good, we go. You know what I mean? So after we did the Colossal record, Pac was done, I started working on the Chris Coke record, Final Warning. And I go in there and I do my thing, and, you know, we start on that one, and I come out, and he's got like half a verse already written for the Final Warning record. And I'm like, bro, this one ain't for you, yo. So I had to like usher him out of the studio. But like, that type of energy is contagious, yo. You know what I mean? He was in there. It was all good vibes. Like, he was ready to work. He was hyped about beat. Like, that's the type of people that I like being around, because it pushes you to do more. You know what I mean? So yeah, working with Big Packy was definitely you know, one of my favorite times in the studio. And like I said, if you haven't heard, you know, Colossal, you know, me and Big Packy, y'all got to get on this Adam Bomb shit, bro. Y'all missing out, because these dudes are going fucking nuts on these records. And I'm gonna shout them out to the fucking cows come home. You know what I mean? But yeah, his fucking 2 projects are fucking amazing. They're phenomenal. He's got some bangers, some slaps, some hits on there that I think Arizona didn't even attempt to to do anything with, which once again is another fucking, I don't want, lack of leadership, fucking bad management, fucking, and this is when whoever's in charge of finding Arizona music, yo, man, oh man, yo, you better hope don't nobody grade you, bro. I'm just saying. I also remember, so I found, Packy. I knew that shit was kind of wild in Arizona. Y'all remember back when Matty Ice was doing those the battle competitions? He the first one he did, the big one where the what's the white? I can't remember the white dude's name from fucking Vegas that won it. Which that fix was in there from the jump. I tried to tell y'all didn't listen. Told you so. But yo, Packy went out in the first round, and I was like, wait, and it wasn't like he was owed anything. The verse was crazy, oh man, because I remember watching it. I think they streamed it or whatever. But it's just, I don't know, man. I think when it comes to some of these artists, Arizona just drops the ball, and it's just not a good look. And I think that dude, it's like a draft, man. Everybody that start out whether they got potential or not, you know what I mean, and then if they have potential, bring them in, and let's see what happens. All I know is Pac has put out 2 fucking phenomenal albums, all right? And Pac, we need that trilogy, all right? I need the third one. Fuck what anybody else say. I'm asking you to give us the last one. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta complete it, bro. You gotta, don't do this to me. Drop that album. But anyway, yeah, man. So that's probably the artist that I think should get more love, just because of the able to do a body of work. Just to dudes all there. But yeah, so that would be my answer to that. Yeah. All right.
Do you harbor any grudges towards any individuals inside Arizona?
Do I have any beefs with? No, dude. Listen, I don't have any issues with any DJs. I do not have any problems with any particular person. I don't care that much, yo. Listen, I've gone out and had to do a lot of this shit the hard way by myself, and so that's why I kind of am a little bit colder to some of these people, just because you didn't help. You didn't help, and it's not like I didn't ask. Listen, I've reached out to everybody that you think would be someone that could do something, and got nothing. Which, once again, I'm not owed anything. Okay, but once again, when you have something like a good product that is just, it's legit. And this is in any industry, you know what I mean? And the people that are supposed to be the experts at that don't recognize what they're looking at. That says something, you know what I mean? So now, after the fact that everybody knows, the bomber's him, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm a little bit more, hey man, this is kind of how we're gonna do it. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not turning down anyone. That's not how I kind of operate. It's like, and you, like I say, people don't even have to come and say, yo, Adam, I fucked up. None of that, yo. But just like, let's have a reset. You know what I mean? Everybody can be professional. Like, I'm always going to be professional. That's just kind of what it is. Like, you only get shit done if you treat people good and you kind of are pleasant to work with. And that is something. Like, you're not going to find anybody that says they had issues working with Adam capping right off the bat, like straight up. Because I do think that's one of the best compliments that I've gotten, is them saying that, yo, Adam, you're super professional, and working with you was easy. That does mean a lot, and I think that's what has opened the few doors that I have been able to open. You know what I mean? But like, at the end of the day, it's a privilege to hear so many no's, and a lot of people to tell you, nah, that's not gonna happen. You can't do that. Because then it's a gut check time for you. And that's what it was for me. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, so everybody says that I can't do this, isn't going to happen. Well, I'm going to go out and do it anyway. And it absolutely can be done without you. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's like, all right, well, what do you have to offer? And that's the thing. Like, I just come asking questions. You know what I mean? I want to know, what do you have to offer? I can absolutely explain what I bring to the table. I can absolutely describe, hey, what I can do in any particular situation. But when I talk to some of these people, they can't explain to me why I should, one, spend my money with them, and two, just involve them in what I'm doing, because this machine runs without you right now. You know what I mean? I'm not keeping anybody out. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, I don't have any issues with any now how they feel about me, I don't know. You're gonna have to ask them. But like I said, I'm always available for like a conversation, or if you want to chop it up and figure out what could possibly happen. I had a really good conversation with somebody. It was another one of them faceless accounts, but the Arizona top 40. We had a good conversation. You know what I mean? And just about they were trying to sell whatever package they were trying to sell, and I'm not going to talk about business that we discussed, but like I'm talking to people. You know what I mean? And there's always ways to just do when you're doing business. You want to come to a middle ground. All right, like you want something, I want something. Okay, how can we get to a place where both parties get something that's beneficial? And I was taught to always come to the table with something that is beneficial to all parties. The problem is that you have to be able to have that conversation and get to that part of the conversation. You know what I mean? Like right off I'm not going to come out and say, hey, man, my name's Adam and I can do this, that, and the third. That's kind of not how it works. And I don't expect the other person to do that either. So like I said, if anyone's heard that, someone's got a problem with me or whatever, you'd have to ask them on why that is. Because like I said, I don't have any beef with anybody or anything like that. No, especially not any DJs. Yeah, we need DJs. I need DJs. We all use DJs. You know what I mean? But definitely conversations are what kind of can get us to where everything is beneficial. It's just as simple as that. All right, Cornelius, are we done, or do you have something else? Because I really like to go to bed.
Get some rest, sir. Our job is done for the day.